Well, hello. Come right on in. You're at Father Fish. Nice to have you with us. Who else? What else we got here? Chris Trapp. What percentage of fish sold in America are grown in Florida versus Asia? Really good question. What percentage of fish, Chris Trapp says, sold in America are grown in Florida versus Asia? It used to be 75% Florida, 25% import. That was true up until 2000. And then it began to change and change dramatically. Now it's flipped. 75% import, not only from Asia, but also from South America and from Europe. Israel has a big business, a big industry. Poland has a big industry. Czechoslovakia has big industries. Of course, China does, and the whole Pacific Rim. So it's changed quite a lot. And the fish farming industry has changed in Florida as well. All of the old timers are pretty much gone. There are a few left, but really not many. Used to be hundreds. Now it's maybe a dozen. The rest of the farms, many of the farms have started growing housing developments. The ones that are still around are renting out their ponds at $10 a month or $10 a year, a month, I guess. You can rent a Florida pond for $10 a month. 100 of them for $1,000, $1,000 a month for 100 ponds, and you can make, boy, on paper it's so exciting. You can make $5,000 a month on that. $5,000 a month on one of those ponds. $5,000, 1,000, that's $5 million. If I do half of that, I'll be rich. If I do 10% of that, I'll be rich. I know, it's true. And you get in there and you put fish in the pond and you start pulling them out. And the first year you got nothing. And the second year you got maybe 100, 200. And by the third year you're gone. It didn't work. And you really can't figure out why it didn't work. You're just fighting an uphill battle all the way. Biggest problem is the fish in Florida. It's kind of interesting, something people don't know. I get questions. I got one the other day. Somebody said, why in the world should we put all of this stuff out of nature into our tanks when these tanks are filled with fish that are all hobby fish? They're all fish that have been developed in very pristine conditions. Listen, I've been there. I've seen it. I know the conditions these fish are raised in. They're raised in dirt ponds outdoors. They're raised, in effect, in the wild. These fish that are raised in farms, there are a few very pristine farms. There are a few. They are few and far between. The primary ones, this is curious, are what I mentioned before, Poland and Czechoslovakia. They're raising their fish in greenhouses. So they're very climate controlled, environmentally controlled. Other than those, which are very expensive fish, redfish, bluefish out in Seattle carries them almost exclusively. Magnificent fish, spectacular fish. If you haven't seen him, he does a live of his shop every Saturday morning. Redfish, bluefish. That's Saturday morning here, our time. Might be whatever, it's different time for others. I don't know what time it is on the West Coast. Early, I guess. Probably 7, 8 o'clock in the morning. He does an hour live stream and then he's open for business. But beautiful fish. And a lot of rather spectacular hybrid fish that are not available anywhere else. They're doing a very sophisticated operation. That ain't the norm. The norm is dirted ponds, whether it's in the Pacific Rim, in China, in South America or here in Florida. Dirted ponds, that's how they're raised. With all the bugs, all the snakes, all the frogs, all the turtles, all the dragonfly larvae, all the stuff that's out in the wild is right there. So don't give me any of this stuff about how your fish are pristine. They ain't. They've been living in the wild. And a lot of them are wild caught. There are a lot of fish wild caught. The entire Piaba industry is based on wild caught fish. I'm going to say that again. The entire Piaba industry is based on wild caught fish and being able to do it in a way that perpetuates and continues and supports that fishery. You buy wild caught fish that have been living in the wild, and they're bringing them into our tanks. Now, what do you think those fish are looking for? You think they're looking for a pristine condition? No, they're looking for live food, and you're not giving them live food, are you? You're getting them flakes. You're getting them pellets. You're getting them something frozen or something dried out. That ain't live food. That ain't what they're used to eating. And I'll tell you one more thing. It fouls the tank, and it makes the fish sick. It fouls the tank, and it makes the fish sick. It is not normal. It is not normal. I'm sorry. It just is not. It's not normal. It's not healthy. It's not an appropriate way to treat wild animals. It's not an appropriate way to treat wild animals. Friends I was just talking about who own the Catoctin Zoo up in Maryland, they, along with virtually every other zoological park for the last 25 years minimum, have been working very hard to create natural environments for their animals. Why aren't we doing that with our fish? Why not? Now, I'm not talking about an artistic piece that looks very natural and ain't nothing natural about it. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about natural tanks. I'm talking about tanks where nature is naturating. I'm talking about tanks that are growing the kind of food in them that baby fish and little fish are looking for to eat all the time. Is your tank doing that? Are you growing microfauna in your tank sufficient to meet the needs of your fish? You can do it, you know. You really can do it. That's what we're all about with the dirted and the leafed tank. We're all about creating a food web that provides a balanced environment where these fish can live in a very natural and a very normal and a very healthy and a very coherent way with their environment. That's what isn't that the ultimate of fish keeping? Isn't that the highest goal to which we ought to be ascribing? Let me put it to you this way. The most advanced people in the hobby are not the ones who are breeding fish. That has been historically the notion of what advanced means. It's not what it means. We're changing that. We're changing that to the most advanced hobbyists have tanks, aquariums that have a food web built into them, that have an environment that is so natural that it provides for all of the animals and all of the plants that are living in it, such that your involvement is minimal. Minimal. You don't throw food into it every day. You don't do water changes every week. You watch it, you study it, and you learn about it, and you encourage it, and you know what to do when it needs to be done because you see the changes. And you see the changes because you're paying attention, because you're noticing what's going on. You're studying, you're learning, you're growing with a growing environment. Isn't that really what this ought to be all about? All about. So I give it to you. If you want to learn how to do this, follow the videos, We're posting videos routinely, but come on over to Discord. Naresh is going to be posting a link on our YouTube homepage under the community tab. Now, the tab that's there now is no good. We need one that has an invitation. He's going to get it up. He probably has done it already. He is Johnny on the spot when it comes to getting things done. So thank you, Naresh. As soon as he gets that up there, get over there, click on that link, get over to Discord, and join in the conversation. You will love it. We've got over 400 people signed up to our Discord channel. It's probably the nicest thing that's happening on the web for fish keepers who really are excited about talking about fish. Come on over and join us. You'll get a lot of information. You'll be able to participate in a lot of really fun and interesting and even scientific activities. And if you've got an ability to understand how to deal with certain kinds of problems, there's a place for you there too, to help folks who are coming in who need help. Chris Trapp, I think they promote Piaba to encourage fish farming over palm farming, thus reducing the shade cover and global warming. Well, you've got your finger on the button there, Chris. The reality is that promoting Piaba is supporting the people who are living on the rivers, who are earning income from that, and who are protecting their environment in order to be able to keep that fishery going. And that's really what's happening. They're keeping industry out in order to be able to protect and keep the health of the aquatic environment where they catch their fish. And it works. It's working amazingly well. It has motivated and encouraged an entire population of very poor people living in very poor parts of the world, particularly down on the Amazon, to take care of and protect their environment because it is the source of their income. It is what feeds their babies. And we've got a lot of support for them. We want to provide support for them. And we want to teach people how to do that Piaba aquarium. That's the goal here, for you to have a Piaba aquarium, for you to have an aquarium that is a living environment. Now, there's an easy way to start. We started this, when was it? Easter Sunday. Easter Sunday. We encourage people to go out to the local pond, ditch, river, creek, stream, and pick up with their bare hand, pick up a handful of mud and dirt and leaves, and get a jar and pour some water in it, dip some water in it, throw that mud in there and bring it back home, set it on the windowsill. Leave it there for 30 days. You ain't allowed to touch it for 30 days. And you're going to find it's the most exciting thing you've ever done in keeping water in tanks, because there's going to be so much life growing in that, so much bursting forth. Now, the next step is to pour that into your tank. That's right. Pour all that gunk and dirt and filth and rot and nastiness right in your fish tank. Bring all that life into it. Increasing biodiversity decreases the potential for sickness. Let me say that again. Increasing biodiversity decreases the potential for problems, for sickness, for illness, for parasites, for disease. Increasing biodiversity decreases the incidence of disease. The more you have living in the tank, the more likelihood is it will overcome the bad guys. A lot of good overcomes the bad, prevents them from being able to even gain a foothold. But if you haven't got much going on in there, something bad comes in, oh boy, it's going to flourish. But if you got a lot of life in there, a diversity of life, it'll maintain in a very healthy environment, maintain a strong, positive environment that'll keep the bad guys at bay. At bay. Chris posted the link for Project Piaba. Thank you, Chris. Alrighty, what time is it here? We got 10 minutes. Big City Bettas. Hope everyone. Well, I hope you found something you've never seen before. Have a great day. Nice having you with us. Come on back.